Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, and welcome back to Loving Glory. Hi guys, so today I have Samira here with me, and
Hi, everybody.
I'm so excited to have her here. She has been reading my cards for a long time.
Yes.
And the first thing that I ever had done with her was actually a coffee reading when I was like, I want to say like 16 or 17. I know I was still in high school. And yeah, but I will let you introduce yourself. Samira, you can tell them about yourself, what you do, and
Well, my name is Samita Faraj, and I have been reading cups like this. I don't know if you guys can see it.
yes.
Like this. Since I was 11, that's what they drank in my house. My mom and dad were Middle Eastern, and everywhere we would go, in the mornings, that's what people would serve you. In the evenings, that's what people would serve you. And it's a very common practice in the Middle East to flip your cup and read it. When I did it when I was 12, I was pretty spot on. So that's how I began. And I would read for my family, I would read to my family and I would read to my friends. And I didn't go public until almost 12 years ago. And then it started little bit by little bit. As a matter of fact, Lori's mom was my second client, and only
really?
because I read Terry first
Okay.
that day.
Okay. So the next question I have for you, what are your services? What products do you have, if you have any products? So tell me a little bit about Readings by Samira.
Readings by Samira is an LLC that I started almost 12 years ago. And I read the cup and I read the tarot cards, and I have something new that I'm doing called the tarot dice, which I'm very excited about. Nobody really here in Southern California is doing it. And I, stumbled upon it and I bought them and I love them. It's a very intense read. In addition to that, I do pendulum questions. You can email me questions and I will email you answers. But basically, lots of different types of tarot reads, lots of oracle reads. I integrate the tarot with the cup, the dice with the tarot, the cup with the tarot, the dice with the tarot.
However you're feeling, or they're feeling.
Or however, whatever the client really wants. And I usually assess the client when either I have them on the phone. I wasn't doing a lot of virtual stuff until COVID hit, and now I could do Zoom, I could do Skype, I could do video WhatsApp or Instagram video. Well, however the client feels more relaxed. It's very nerve-wracking to get read. I mean, you get very nervous in the beginning of the read. And my main goal is to make my client relax so that they get the most out of the read.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up too, because especially growing up Catholic, and I had this conversation with Samira the first time she did my tarot. She was the first person that ever read my tarot for me. But I remember having that conversation because I was like, I really want to get it done, but I'm so nervous, I'm so scared. And I remember her explaining it like a boat and the life path, and that there's always going to be different paths you can take, whether it's on a river, wherever you're at, and you're on a boat and you get to decide which way you're going to go. And she said, like, nothing is set in stone. Like, you can choose your life path depending on what the read is. And the read is mostly your current energy. And if you continue on this path, or you have the decision to change things.
Well, nobody can really predict the future because nobody knows when you're going to die. And that is not what a reader like me does. What I do is I confirm or affirm what you're already thinking or what you already want to do. And usually I like to do both paths. Especially if I'm doing cards, I'll say, well, if you go this way, these are the cards. If you go this way, these are the cards. And it's a straight interpretation of what the tarot cards are. The cup is a little bit more different. The cup is more of a general read. It's about your aura. It's about your the way you're feeling and what's blocking you mainly, and what you can do depending on the kind of person you are. And each reading is individual.
Yeah.
Later on next year, I'm going to introduce a little bit of astrology into the reads, where I would take your birth chart, specifically your sun, your ascendant, and your moon, and when I read your cup, I will I will take that into consideration along with
Okay.
what's happening around us in the planet. Like if there's a retrograde, if there's a full moon, if the moon is waxing or wet or raining or whatever, that makes a difference for people and the way that they make their decisions. Most people come to me because they want to make a big decision. And I have a lot of different types of clients. I run into the problem of the religion also, where people don't want to get rid. And then, you know, I grew up Muslim. My parents were Muslim. And there's a lot of stuff that I disagree with you know, organized religion. Well, see, when I first started doing this, I'm going to go back to when I was 12. So when I was 12, I read my grandma, my maternal grandma, and I read her and my grandpa. At a breakfast, I slept over their house. They made coffee. They flipped their cups. We were laughing. And my grandma was 48 when I was 12. And I told my grandma, oh, you have a pregnancy here. And, you know, everybody laughed. I told my grandpa, you're going to make a lot of money. Everybody laughed. But a couple of months later, my grandma did get pregnant. She had an ectopic pregnancy, and she had to be rushed to the hospital. And they did a DNC at the time, because that's the way that they used to do it there. And then when she got better, she remembered, and she called my mom, and she told my mom, oh my God, no, this is against the religion. You know, this was shut down in my family. You know, you can't let your daughter do that. And my grandpa was the other side, like, you know, the good angel, the bad angel. And my grandpa's like, no, let her do it. Those people don't know what they're talking about. They're so full of religion and blah, blah, blah. And so I ended up just doing it for fun. But I've run across a lot of like the taboo of the religion. And it's something I really am very passionate about, because growing up Muslim, and okay, if you're Muslim, supposedly you can drink, you have to cover your hair, you have to do a bunch of stuff. But the main focus of the Muslim religion is you're not supposed to be judging. You're not supposed to judge. And Islam means to submit to the will of God. Okay, that takes me to go. So if reading is taboo, and also if you are, you know, gay or homosexual, whatever the proper term is now, that's also, you know, taboo. Okay, so, but if it's taboo, why was it written about? Why is it in all the books? And you know, my youngest son is gay, and he is, and will always be a gift from God. Literally, this kid was a gift from God. So how can God, my God or your God, send me something like that? And Billy was gay since he was born. I knew when he was little that he was gay. So I try to tell people that this isn't, I don't do spells. So I don't do black magic. That doesn't, you know, that's just a little bit overboard. And I'm not like putting people down. If that's your thing, go ahead. But hey, if you have to cast a spell on somebody, you're in trouble.
Yeah, because it's all going to come back to you. It's all energy, and we're exchanging energy, and what you give is what you get back.
Exactly. So for me, when I run into the religion, and you know, people will not come to me if they don't want to get read. And I've had a lot of clients that have turned religious that don't come to me anymore. But like one of my favorite clients, she turned born again Christian, so she cannot do this. And so a couple of weeks ago, her mother passed away. And so I called her because I heard from the grapevine that her mom passed away. And, you know, at first she didn't take my phone call, but then later on she called me and she goes, I don't want to get read. I just want to talk to you. And she was going through some stuff. So without reading her, I was able to, you know, calm her down, you know, have her separate grief from anger, from guilt, from what we have to do. And the reason that I was able to do that is not because I'm a reader, it's because I also lost my mom. So I knew exactly the chaotic world that her mind was in. And she thanked me afterwards. I didn't charge her. It wasn't a read, but and she felt better. But it's, if you're torn between religion and spirituality, I tell everybody marry them both. You know, so marry them as two separate entities, and then, you know, you can follow your path. And I do really truly believe that where you are born, whatever is in your solar chakra, whatever religion you were born into, that has something to do with your path. Doesn't mean you have to follow it or you can't turn into another religion, but that has something to do with your path as a person. You know, like I always wanted to be Catholic because my mom was a closet Catholic. She was. My mom, until the day I think she was praying to, and the Sacred Heart of Jesus was her favorite saint. And you know, that's how I heard her pray. And I always wanted to be Catholic. And so when I studied the religion, Hi, I liked it. I loved everything about
Yeah.
it, but it just didn't resonate. And then the Muslim religion, they're such extremists. But I feel like I'm very close to God, so I want to, pray the 5 times a day. So that's the thing I love the most about religion. And people tell me, doesn't that bother you?
Yeah.
Like,
Doing both.
To just kind of go and pray every day 5 times a day. And I'm like, no, it doesn't bother me.
I was gonna say, so I think that's those are good examples, and it's true. Even like what you said about being gay. My grandma has worked in the church basically her whole life, and I remember having a conversation with her, and she had said like the God that she believes in, and this is a woman that has been raised by the Catholic Church that has goes to Sunday mass every single Sunday. If she before COVID, they would go to church every single day, and she basically told me like God wouldn't make it like make loving somebody a sin. Why is that a sin? And
Yes.
she just kind of said like, like why would he make you and you be a mistake? Yes, it's not maybe in the society that we live in, not everybody accepts it, but she didn't see me as like, oh, I'm going to go to hell because I love somebody.
And I agree. And one of the things that I talk a lot to young ladies or young women or women in general is we as women, we don't realize how much we block each other. We block ourselves. So you can be, and there's some really bad women out there. There is. But for every for every good woman, there's 2 bad women. Yes. I mean, that's how I see it. But there are some really good women out there. And they're the ones that are behind the scenes. They're the ones that are picking up the messes. They're the ones that are doing all the cleanup. They're the ones that you don't see. But then you look around, and when they're not there, you're like, oh, boy, what happened here?
Yeah.
For me, I didn't realize how much I was blocking my own self because of the way that I was raised. I was raised, like they say in Spanish, ¿qué van a decir? What are people going to say?
Yeah.
And so that was ingrained in me. So that was one of the reasons why I delayed going public with my gift.
Yeah.
Really, because I didn't want to be the freak. I didn't want to be called the freak. And guess what? I was called the freak anyway.
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of opposition, especially because some of the people in my family are very, very, very religious. And, I had already done this when I found out that my son was gay. And I kind of knew it was just a reaffirmation.
Yeah.
And the first thing, and I'm not ashamed to say it now, but the first thing that I thought, I was like, oh my God, what are people going to say?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I kid you not, the day that like it kind of came out and we had this big fight and blah, blah, blah. And he was very emotional. And it was a very dramatic thing because he didn't come out to me.
Yeah.
I caught him.
Yeah.
And I asked him. And in my house we have if you can't tell the truth, if you can't bring that person here, it's not worth it. So that was his truth. So to him it was worth it.
Yeah.
So I'm leaving my house and I'm driving down the hill and I look up. There's not a cloud. There was one cloud in the sky, but it wasn't raining. And there's a rainbow, one of those weird rainbows that appears. And I'm looking at that going, okay, that's God talking to me. And so I'm still crying and I'm still going down the hill thinking, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, this kid, what am I going to do? What are people going to say? I'm going to get blamed for it. And I started like just projecting all these crazy thoughts.
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what? I'm going crazy. I have a long commute. Let me turn on the radio. So I was listening to an Oprah podcast and she had Magic Johnson's wife on it. And Magic Johnson's wife is a super religious person. She's like a born-again Christian or something like that. And her son is also gay, and he had just come out. So Oprah gets her and asks her, how do you reconcile your son being gay with your religion?
Yeah.
And at that moment, she said, I have my peace with it. I have come to peace with it because God is love and God would not create somebody, to be ostracized, to be humiliated or whatever. And that was it for me. Okay. The third sign that I got was I started researching about parents, how to cope with a gay son. And then I ran into this book that said, the first thing was, now that he's out, now that you know that your son is gay, take a deep breath and relax. It's going to be okay. And then that was it. My family, especially my siblings, they were so very, very, very supportive.
That's great.
Not all of them, but the ones that I,
Close
their
to.
families are big. And, my whole family, my extended family, my cousins, they're amazing. So that ties in a lot with, with me being, with me accepting this.
Yeah.
Because how am I going to read people that are gay, or how am I going to advise somebody if I myself cannot accept it in my life?
Of course.
So you can't do that. And I grew up to lead by example, and both my parents, they knew, and both of them loved my son. He got very close to him, especially my dad. Before my dad passed away, my dad was super old-fashioned, and so for me that meant a lot. If you can get someone like my dad to accept something like this that's his own, I mean, the world can be changed in a peaceful, mindful manner.
Yeah. That's great. And it's nice and it's true, I think, what you're saying. Like, how are you going to read somebody when you don't accept that, or that's not something that you
can't.
Yeah.
You cannot.
You can't separate the two.
You can't separate the two. And for me, I love all four of my kids. Billy was a gift. Truly, honestly, the way that he was born, he was 4 pounds, and then he lost almost a pound after he was born. The whole, his journey was so incredible that looking at him now and the success that he is and the kind person that he is, just makes me so proud. And so what? I don't, so that made me a more effective reader.
Okay.
It really did.
Yeah.
I can sit with people and I can usually tell if someone is confused about their sexuality and they don't know which way to go, and people are so afraid. And honestly, what I found out that people need 3 things. They need approval. For some weird reason, we need approval.
Yeah.
The second thing is they need love. And the third thing, they need acceptance. But all those 3 things have to come with that. You have to do it to yourself first. You have to approve of who you are. You have to love yourself, and you have to accept yourself. And then you can kind of come out and say, hey, this is who I am as a person.
Because you're confident about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question, where can we book with you? Where can we purchase because I know you have crystals on there too. I don't know if you remember, but you gave me this one. She gave me this one.
Wow.
It's do you still carry these?
I don't. I sold out.
Okay.
And because of COVID, I haven't really been able to find anybody that would wrap them for me, or even the crystal store wasn't taking anybody in person. You had to, like the wholesale place, you had to go and order online, and that's
different.
Yeah. It's a different experience. So I ran completely out. Yeah. And then when I went back to my crystal wholesaler, they're moving. So
oh my goodness.
I will probably carry something. I am doing the crystal reads.
Okay.
With the coffee or with the tarot. With the tarot, or even with the dice, and that aligns your chakras with the crystals, because that's really how the crystals work for me anyway. To find me, I have a website called readingsbysamira.com, and there you can see all my services, and you can book appointments there. There's a number you can call also. I usually answer right away. I have an Instagram page, Readings by Samira. I have a Facebook page, Readings by Samira. None of those were taken because my name is so unusual. That's how you find me. And then in my website, you can see all the different stuff. And I'm always changing things because I feel like some things, the core of my work is never going to change, which is the cup, the cards, whether it's tarot or oracle. And the dice is something new that I add. But I'm always adding different things, different crystals, different stuff. Okay. I usually like to gift my clients things, especially when they come see me in person. Sometimes when you see somebody so down and you can't really help them, or they, because
it's up to them. Yeah.
Really, honestly, it is up to you to help yourself as a person. If you cannot see it. If you cannot see it here, it's very difficult to see here of the things that you want. And then if you start seeing things here that are not real, you're going to make them real, because, that's contradictory. Yeah. It is. But we have a tendency to, like a lot of people ask me about manifestations. To me, manifestations work. Yes. And the reason that they work is because I don't feel that people get what they deserve. I feel like people usually draw what they're reflecting. Okay, so if you reflect a lot of fear or a lot of anger or a lot of, anguish, that's what you're going to draw.
Yeah.
So, and it's almost like looking in the mirror. Sometimes when you look in the mirror, you don't like what you see. If you don't like what you see in the mirror, change it. Change whatever it is. Or learn to accept it. As long as you accept yourself, I think anywhere you go, whether you go to a reader or a therapist or the psychiatrist or your boss or your partner or your friend, then you know your truth and you don't have to be aggressive about it and you don't have to be mad about it. And you can kind of see like how people like see you that way.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
going back to your original question, everything about me is on my website.
Okay, and I will link everything down below, like always. So I know you talked a little bit about like you being worried to come out with your readings and all that. So my next question is, how did you deal with any like backlash from your family or anybody that wasn't maybe supportive of you?
When I first started to read, I was little. I was 12. And so I would read all the time, everywhere we would go. If there was a baby shower, I have a really big extended family, and there's always stuff going on, and we love parties. We love to hang out together.
Yeah.
And so my mom and dad's house was had a revolving door. My mom and dad were always having barbecues and parties and all that. So when I first started to read, nobody really laughed at me, or said anything to me. But they would call me bruja, they would call me witch, they would call me, some people would say, oh, she's evil, blah, blah, blah. I was little, I was 12. How was a 12-year-old evil?
Yeah.
So I learned to let things kind of bounce off, but most of the time I was very hostile, and I would act way more.
Yeah.
The weird thing about it was that everybody would line up. Even the people that were calling me names, they wanted to get read. So, going back to what I had originally told you about getting yourself blocked, when I was 33, I decided that I wanted to go public. Like public means read to the public.
Yes.
So I had done a couple of things and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go public. And I got really sick and I had to have an emergency surgery. I didn't see it coming nowhere. Yeah. I didn't see it in my cup. I didn't see it in my cards. And I would read myself all the time. And I was like, man, you know what? If I can't see this, I suck as a reader. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to stay home and take care of my health and my kids and whatever. Right. Then I went back when I was going to turn 40. I said, you know what? Like that was just a fluke. I'm going to go back and start reading again. And right before I came out public, I got divorced. My marriage just crumbled like a house of cards. Again, I didn't see it coming. If you would have looked at my life from outside into my house, it was the perfect life. And then all of a sudden, it just imploded. And I'm like, oh my God, I suck as a reader. I'm not spiritual. Yeah. This is God punishing me, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then 6 years after I got divorced, I was, I think, 46 or 45. And I was really struggling for money because I, didn't... Yeah, we had dual income, and then I waived my alimony again. An emotionally bad decision, but that's okay. And so I waived the alimony, and I was struggling financially. And then my brother and my sister came up to me, why don't you read? Why don't you read? Why don't you read? And that's how I ended up reading Lori's mom. And I read Terry, her friend. And so they paid me, and so it went. Once I got a couple of clients and I started telling people that wanted to get read for free, that now they had to pay me, people laughed at me. I mean, I had a lady who, I went to a family gathering and the lady asked me what I did for a living. Yeah. Well, I do accounting for a living, and I would always tell people I do accounting for a living. But I said, you know what? Maybe my business is not growing the way I want it to grow because I haven't really told people what I do. And I couldn't, I knew it was going to happen. So I'm like, I could feel my throat closing. And I told her, oh, you know what? I read cards and cups. Well, she's Middle Eastern, so she knew about the cups. Literally, this person cackled. She went back and laughed like a hyena. And I sat there looking at her. Oh, and this person, she just got published. She, is a doctor, and she's just, very into science and blah, blah, blah. And she laughed and laughed and laughed. And I waited until she finished. And I told her, I said, for you being so book smart, you're not people smart. You have no idea how much that laugh would have hurt someone weaker than me. But you go ahead and keep laughing because I'm laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
After I said that, my business for some reason just took off. And when in 2018, my dad died in 2017, so I went to Puerto Rico in 2018. I hadn't been I was born in Puerto Rico. I hadn't been to the island since 1983. It's been almost 35 years. And the island, I have memories of my dad in the island and things that I used to do with my dad in the island. And I was there for 10 days, and every day I would do something that I did with my dad. And by like a weird like deal. When I came back, I read 2 influencers from Instagram. You know, they called me while I was in the island and they wanted to get read. So I said, as soon as I get back, I'll read you guys. And then I got a bunch of clients. So then that's when I actually set up the website. That way I could send people there. And I just held to myself. I knew that was helping people. And for every person that laughed at me, I had 3-4 people that were texting me, hey, by the way, this is what happened to me. Thank you so much. It's exactly what you said. That would happen if I did this. And so now here I am.
Yeah.
So I stopped listening to people, and people still laugh at me.
Yeah.
Oh, they do all the time.
Yeah.
If you know your truth, and it took me a long time to accept who I was. I don't regret starting when I started, which I did for a while, but that's just bringing me down. So, you know, I started when I started because that's when I was supposed to start.
Yeah.
If I would have started earlier, I would have kind of juggled it. Probably wouldn't have done as well as I did now because I had the kids.
Yeah.
And now, you know, it's been a really good experience. I tell everybody, there's 2 ways to confront people that are laughing at you or bullying you. You can ignore them. That's not going to make it go away.
Yeah.
You can confront them. Okay. And I like the confrontation as long as it's not violent. You don't have to say, hey, you know, I just, you know, this lady, I saw her again at another gathering. And I told her, I said, she came up to me, she goes, look, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's okay. You just don't do that to people.
Yeah.
You make people feel bad.
Yeah.
One of the best ways to, when someone tells you something that you don't like is to, like, you didn't hear the question, make them repeat the question.
Yeah.
Make them repeat the statement. Excuse me, what did you say? I did not understand that.
Yeah.
And then 2 things will happen. Either they'll repeat it, and then you have the choice of saying, okay, I don't care what you say. I'm going to walk out of here.
Yeah.
Or no, you're wrong, you know, which I tell people not to do, because if they're already believing it and they repeat it twice, you're not going to change their mind.
Yeah.
So that's how I dealt with her. I just told her, I said, I don't think that's very nice. Not everybody's going to accept you. Like, as long as you know your truth and you are okay with where you're at, you should be fine.
Yeah. And I think it also takes a big person to be able to say something. I feel like more recently, in the last like 2-3 years, I've become that person in my family where it's like people let things go on. And then when it happens to me, I'm like, whoa, we're not going to talk to each other like that, or we're not going to do this. Or, hey, just like you said, like it brings you down. The way I explained it was like, one of my uncles did something to me and I like went and I talked to him about it. And I was like, it's like you stepped on me. Like I was so excited. I was so happy. And then you come and say this one thing and it's like everything just kind of like all the good feelings went away.
Yeah.
And then when you tell people and where you confront people about it, but in, I guess, a nicer, loving way, then they're able to think twice before doing it to somebody else, hopefully, or at least then, like, he knows that I have that boundary now and I'm not going to allow people to step over my boundaries or, you know, make me feel less than what I am.
You know, more than anything is when you're in the public, when you're successful at whatever you do, you're going to get backlash. You're going to get criticized. You have to be okay with that. That's part of the journey. That's part of the growth. And you really have to look at the person. And if people were to stop for a second and look to see what is going on with this person or what they look like around them, you know, what's around them, you would stop and say, okay, I don't want to be anywhere near that person. I don't want to be like that person at all. So you would, most of the time, you know, most of the time, I just walk away. I was like, oh, see you later. I got to go shopping. And that, you know, will really, most of the people that have come up to me and told me stuff have been women. None of the men in my family have told me anything at all. Zero. In the Middle Eastern culture, it's, now it's a little bit different. Like my daughters are a little bit different. But we're basically, from when you're born, you're told that your role in life is to be a good mom and a good daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Because the religion, or not the religion, the culture is about the man providing.
Yeah.
So to break the mold out of that, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to get some thick skin and, push through and really look at the person that's saying that to you. Really, really look. Like if it's something like the mean tweets on Twitter, okay, who cares about that?
Yeah.
That's dumb and it's stupid. Like I can say whatever I want online, But if it's someone that's face to face, or worse, it's someone that you care about, or you're in a gathering where you're, at someone's house and someone comes at you and tells you something. Honestly, look at the person that's telling you. Like, what do they look like? What does their face look like? And then you'll figure it out.
That's true. Okay, so I know you talked about you blocking yourself. So the next question is, what on your hard days, or like when you had hard days, how did you get through those? You within yourself as a person.
I'm very, very lucky that I've been a reader all my life. And when I was little, my parents moved around a lot. So I was always the new kid. And being the new kid isn't the best place to be. And so I didn't have any friends sometimes to read, I didn't have any friends to talk to or hang around with at lunch. So I would go to the library, especially when I was in 5th, 6th, and 7th. And I developed a love for reading. So throughout the years, I've read all kinds of books. When I would get blocked, or when I would go towards anger. That's where I would go. I would get really angry and I would just, say a bunch of stuff. And after a while, it instantly made me feel better. But the aftermath of it was very ugly.
Yeah.
And my second daughter, she went to a conference somewhere and somebody gave her a book. They were passing out this book called You Can Heal Your Life.
Oh, I have that book.
I think I was 44 when I read that book. I was 44 when I read it. And I had gone through a very, very, very ugly divorce. I had, a lot of problems, with my family. And I was so angry all the time that my daughter, she gave me the CD. They gave her the book, they gave her the CD. Okay. She gave me the CD and she told me, you have to listen to this for 30 days straight. And when I listened to Louise Hay, literally, that was the moment that my life actually changed. Everything that she said resonated with me. And from there on, I spiraled. I went to Wayne Dyer. And I read all her books, all of Louise Hay's book. And I'm always reading, I just read Mark Manson's books. I read You're a Badass. I can't remember the girl that wrote it, but she was excellent.
Jen Cisnero.
She was excellent. So what I do when I know that I'm gonna have a bad day, or when I wake up in a bad, like, just not every day is gonna be good. Yeah. I try to meditate. Okay. And the meditation has helped me conquer my days, because meditation isn't about levitating. Yes. Meditation is about controlling what's going on in here. And a lot of times we have these chaotic days, or these. Part of it is because we're thinking about these things that are not real. They're not really going to happen, or they're not really happening. We just think that they are. So when you meditate, you learn to get rid of that. And I also keep myself really busy. I was reading Dare to Be Greatly. Okay. I haven't heard of that one. I don't think it's called that. I think it's called something else. Okay. But it's something about dare to do something. Dare to be great, or dare to be greatly, or. And in the book, she says, if there was a support group for people that keep themselves really, really, really busy, we would fill stadiums. And I'm like that. I keep myself super busy. So lately, I've had a little bit more downtime. And so I really focus on the meditation. I garden a lot. Okay. My moon is in Capricorn. So I know that the planets where your zodiac sign in your chart make a difference as to how you handle your blocks, how you handle your triumphs, how you handle. So my moon is in Capricorn. So I will either go outside to garden or I'll go on a hike if I can. Yeah. And if not, I'll just go somewhere where there's like trees and stuff, and I'll just make myself sit there until I calm myself down. Okay. That's what I do. Okay.
But I mean, that's a good practice. I think that's something that I need to do more because I need to go out in nature. That's what everything keeps coming up. Is just like I need to be out, and I know I like put myself in the house, and I know it's not
nature
the
is
best.
important.
Yeah,
Nature is important because you need the sun. You need to go out, and we're very fortunate in Southern California that we can have nature all year long.
Yes.
My daughter-in-law's from Canada, and it's brutal. The winter there is brutal.
Yeah.
Like you cannot go outside.
Yeah.
When it's it's super cold. So if you're in that spot, and I when I meet people from Canada and it's the winter, I said, hey, go somewhere where there's a fire, light a fireplace, get some, like, even if it's fake plants, put them around you, make yourself a little sacred space. I don't care if it's a little corner in your little teeny tiny apartment.
Yeah,
make yourself a space and keep the space, because if every time you need to unwind, you have to rearrange the space or clear the space, it's just going to make you more
chaotic.
Yeah, it'll make you more chaotic.
Yeah, that makes
sense.
So
that's what I do. And I read a lot, and I'm always like learning and stuff. And I think some people are sponges. They just want to learn and learn and learn. And I'm like that. And I mean, I'm 56 years old, so I know myself really well.
Yeah.
And I didn't know myself until I went through all the trials and tribulations that I've gone through. If you're, when you're doing great, you find out where your weaknesses are. And when you're not doing great, you find out where your strengths are. So at 56, I've had ups and downs. I've had really great moments. I have really, really bad moments. And, that's what I do. I read.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so last question is, what advice would you give to young females out there that are wanting to start a business or start something that maybe they've been thinking about, but they're kind of doubting themselves? Like, what advice would you give to them?
For women, we're nurturers by nature, okay? If you want to start your own business, don't naysay yourself in your head. Don't say, I can't do this. If it's something that you want to do, don't do what I did. I was like, I suck at this. That's just a terrible affirmation that I put out there. Okay. Just say, you know what? I really want to do it. And don't tell anybody about it. Because the more people you tell, the more people you're going to have to untell if you don't end up doing it by whatever happens in your life. So I say to research it. And now it's just a Google search. Okay, I want to make candles. Let's say I wanted to do get into a candle making business. Search online, go and see the social medias of people who have those types of businesses. See if that's something that resonates with you. See what comes at you in the next couple of days after you open that up.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the right time. And I think the things happen for you, not to you. But that's what I would do. And if anybody's going through a heartbreak or anybody's just things didn't work out in a certain place for them, that's the time to hit a business. That's the time. Why? Because you're very, very sad. And when you do the business, now you're going to feel this love or this passion for something that's actually yours, and it's going to ricochet and give it right back at you. So that's my advice.
That's true. Well, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. This was so much fun.
I appreciate you letting me come over. We are at her place. This is where she does her readings in her office. And like I said, I love Samira. I love her readings. I can't wait to drink this coffee because her coffee's so good. And thank you guys so much for watching. Again, thank you for opening up and sharing all that with everybody. And we will see you guys later. Bye.